panel of guests. I've got Lorraine Allanson, who's a grassroots campaigner from Yorkshire. She has seen sort of firsthand the impact of some of the protesters who have been stopping fracking and how unpleasant they've been, and how the planning system in the past has not really been able to provide sort of quick answers to getting shale gas going. We've got Charles McAllister from UK Onshore Oil and Gas. They are the trade organisation looking at onshore extraction of hydrocarbons. And Andy Mayer from the Institute of Economic Affairs. He's a chief operating officer and an energy analyst, and he's been a key voice in recent times on energy issues. So we're looking forward to hearing from all of them. I won't hold you up too much longer because we need to make progress, and we're looking forward to getting lots of questions in as well. So Lorraine, if you want to take things off.
Can I stand at the lectern?
Certainly, yeah.
So who am I? Well, I'm just a short, fat, hairy woman who lives in Yorkshire. But why am I so passionate about shale gas? In 2013, I was so excited when I discovered that shale gas was under our feet. I could see that the shale gas industry could bring economic growth in deprived areas of the north, high-paying jobs, business opportunities and tax revenue for our government, but crucially, energy security too. Importantly, a vibrant new industry might help stop the migration of youngsters from our area, where work is often low-paid, part-time and seasonal. Most of you will have heard the anti-fracking, anti-gas protesters claim that they are peaceful. How do we define peaceful? I'll give you a quick rundown of events that happened in my area. There was indeed a small group of locals who protested against fracking, and most were peaceful. It was the invasion of professional protesters from outside the area that came and took over the narrative, which caused trouble in my community. Firstly, the protesters stole a farmer's field and set up their protest camp. Their protest actions included a never-ending disruption for locals. And they included things like locking on, where two people locked together in a metal tube, and laying the road. They blocked the entrance to the well site, but also they blocked the village streets so that no one could pass through. Villagers couldn't get their children to school, and one family was stopped in an emergency taking their child to hospital because protesters blocked the road. They hijacked lorries. The protesters call it lorry surfing, but it's actually hijacking, because once they're on board a lorry, it cannot move, and it can be stuck there for days. For companies that service the shale gas industry, they get one-star reviews from the protesters. It's trying to destroy the reputation of any businesses working with the companies, and it's a brave CEO who doesn't refuse to work with the gas companies any longer. Most back out. They disrupt democratic council meetings, and one protester turned up with a live bullet to the protest at the well site. But one of the worst actions the protesters did was to break into the well site and climb the workover ring. They lit a flare above a live gas well. That irresponsible action endangered the lives of the gas workers, the police and the villagers. The anti-fracking protesters aggressively targeted individuals like myself who stood up in support of shale gas. I received threats that they would get me, that they knew where I lived, and they attacked my personal appearance. They cut off my broadband, gave me fake bad reviews for my business, and they lied on official documents linking me to a fake crime number, as if I was a criminal. Just tell me, how will the government define local support when locals are too afraid to stand up and speak out in favour? Because they are bullied. We are now looking at 8 million people living in fuel poverty. We already have tens of thousands dying to fuel poverty, and you need only look at Age UK figures for that. How many more vulnerable people should we sacrifice over the next few years to appease the anti-fracking movement? We have wasted 10 years while weak, spineless and gullible politicians buckled to the baying anti-fracking mob, who had an agenda that was more about trying to end capitalism, bring the Tory government down, and helping to feather the nests of the big environmental groups such as Friends of the Earth, Food and Water Watch and Greenpeace, rather than being about any genuine concern over shale gas. Food and Water Watch are interesting. They're not even based in the UK, they are based in the USA. Yet they came here and backed the UK anti-fracking groups, and they even helped lobby our government. Friends of the Earth started campaigning against the UK shale gas industry using their charitable trust, but had their knuckles rapped by the Advertising Standards Authority when they produced a leaflet with wild claims against shale gas industry that they could not support with evidence, whilst asking for donations. As a charity, you cannot mislead when asking for money, and that's when Friends of the Earth cunningly changed to using their limited company. It's the same offices, same staff, same logo. It's only in the small print that you can see it says limited or trust. The general public have no idea. The public donate to the charity, and because they trust charities to be honest, that's why they give them money, but they cannot trust them because the charity, Friends of the Earth charity, then gives grants to the limited company to fund their anti-fracking campaign. It may not be illegal, but it is immoral to frighten people just to garner donations. The anti-fracking movement needed a snappy hook to draw people into their campaign. They started out by corrupting the American term hydraulic fracturing into the word fracking. Fracking naturally sounds bad, and if it is shortened, it can easily be used as an insult, especially with its connotations to the F word. For example, frack off. Hey, you, frack off. Frack off, go on. The correct term for the process of encouraging gas to be released from shale rock is hydraulic stimulation and not fracking. But hydraulic stimulation doesn't have the same powerful effect if you want to shout insults and abuse at people. Stimulate off, go on you, stimulate off. And it takes a whole new meaning if you say that you are a member of the anti-stimulation movement. Below our feet sits the Bowland Shale. It's a rock formation which is full of natural gas. It's a rich treasure trove. Why are we importing from across the globe an essential resource we could and should provide ourselves? By continuing to import instead of producing our own oil and gas, we help fund foreign wars and turn a blind eye to human rights abuses. We are in the midst of a liquid war. We outbid poorer nations for LNG supplies to be shipped across the globe so that we can keep our own lights on, while poorer nations are forced to remain reliant on wood and dung to burn for energy because they cannot compete with us from the price for LNG. Are we too precious to provide our own gas from under our feet? Do we think that it is fair we virtue signal to the world that we have cut our own CO2 emissions, but only because we offshore them to other countries? It's for me, I think. All our imports are counted as zero emissions because they are counted at the country of origin. Is any of that fair or moral? It certainly does not help our economy. Oil and gas have been demonised, and yet they are the most essential component of our modern way of life. Almost every useful product in our lives has been derived from oil and gas. Many official reports agree that we will still need gas for several decades as a transition fuel to a greener future. Utilising our own shale gas would mean that the North could benefit from skilled jobs, business opportunities and the resulting tax revenue that would follow for our government. And the industry is also saying that there could be direct payments to locals, and of course it would help our energy security. Just where are all those lawsuits in the USA if fracking is so awful, catastrophic and poisonous? Where are the rows of bodies in mortuaries poisoned by the chemicals and water? There are none. Putin has cleverly played the long game. He has gradually ensured that the UK and EU are hooked on cheap Russian oil and gas and encouraged us to stop developing our own shale gas. He has earned billions for his despotic regime by dominating Central Europe, and now, as we desperately try to take control of the ticking time bomb that is our energy security, he is turning off the tap and pipelines are being blown up. How can we sit back and allow the loss of our energy security, the loss of our vital industries, and the loss of pride that Northerners have in being able to work and help power this nation? People do not vote to be poor, they vote to prosper. They don't vote to be penalised with expensive energy bills, they vote for energy security and a government that rewards hard work. They vote for opportunities, not restrictions, and above all else they vote for a government that works for the benefit of our country, and not one that is castrating our economy just to appease a baying mob of radical eco-activists. We certainly do not want energy policies which people pay for with their lives.
Well said.